This video is so important to me. This video is going to become my Bible. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy that you're here because today we are going to be talking about acceptance. In my previous videos, I talked a lot about how can you be unbothered, how can you stop being jealous, how can you become the main character of your life. But there was one topic that kept coming back and I never addressed it. And I thought that this week I would address it because this is such an important part of our lives, with our job, with our colleagues, with our relationships, with our family, with ourselves, that it has to be spoken about. And I feel like not a lot of people talk about it. So I'm going to bring you guys in this week's video, acceptance. How can you accept things that are out of your control? Or how can you accept things that you are not okay with now, but for whatever reason, you have to accept them. In the first part of the video, I will be talking about things that you have to accept because you simply don't have a choice. And of course, as always, I'm going to be bringing you some examples so you know what I'm talking about. And in the second part of the video, I'm going to be talking about when are those situations when you have to accept something, even though you're not okay with it, but for a better cause, you have to accept it. This is somehow related to my unbothered video when I was talking about if something bothers you, but it's not as serious, like it's lower than a 6, just go with it. And I know that sometimes maybe something to you is higher than a 6, but to other people is lower. So you want to keep going, you want to keep talking about it, but other people just don't take it or they just don't care about it. I'm not saying that's a healthy sign, but especially in a hierarchical place where you cannot talk to your boss about how unhappy you are with your work, you have to accept it even though it's important to you. But I will talk about this later in the video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how you have to accept certain things in life and how to be okay with them. What I'm trying to think about in this example is, for example, when you have to work on something that you're not okay with, or your partner is doing things that you're not okay with, and you just have to accept that because it's how they do things. Now, there is a difference between accepting something because you have to accept that, or accepting something that is outside of your boundary. I'm going to tell you a very simple example. If your boundary is cheating and your partner cheated, that's something you don't have to accept. Okay, so I'm not talking about just be okay with whatever happens, just be okay with however people speak to you. I'm talking about those things where something happens and you don't like it, but you don't have control over it. Because here we also really have to make a differentiation. When you can control something, it's usually how you react to something. It's usually how you perceive things. You know, they say that the only difference between a positive and a negative person is how they react to bad news. So I try to believe that I want to be a positive person. So every time something happens, I try to get the best out of it. But that's not always easy. Okay, I'm not gonna sit here and fake it like, yeah, whatever happens, I'm gonna be fine. That's not how I live, because I'm not a robot that you can program me to be okay with everything and I'm just okay with everything. So I was really thinking about this because in the past few months, a lot of things happened that were outside of my control. So the first thing that you need to realize is what is in my control. For example, your boss gives you a project that you really don't like because, I don't know, you're uncomfortable with talking to a client, you're uncomfortable with the industry that you have to work in, you're uncomfortable with your colleagues because they make you feel weird. So in this case, there are some things that you can change. So you look at the situation and you say, I don't like this colleague because she never gets anything done. This is something you can change because you can go to your boss and say, look, this person is really not helping me with the project. I have to do double work, blah, 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 blah. Okay, in this case, let's assume that your boss is quite nice, so he or she is gonna help you with the situation. Then, of course, your problem is done. You don't have to accept anything. Another scenario is when you try to change something. For example, you say that, yeah, this person doesn't get anything done and I cannot work with them. And then your boss says, I'm sorry, but she or he is the most talented for this project, so I cannot do anything about her not doing anything. In this case, you have to accept it because, yeah, she's not going to disappear from the project or he's not going to disappear from the project, but you have to work with them. So what can you do now when you are facing a situation which you cannot control anymore? Because if you can control something, imagine it like an action map. I always have an action map. And I say my problem. For example, I don't like my colleague. Okay, this is my problem. Then I go, can I control it? Yes. Did I take action? Yes. Over. Did I take action? No. Why not? Then it's my fault because I still didn't take action. If I cannot control it, I let it go. Of course, it's not like I let it go and then it's gone and then I don't have to worry about this anymore. So how do you accept it? The first thing that you do is, of course, you realize, is it in my control? If not in my control, try to remember this example. I always bring this example up because this is so valid. You look outside a window and you see the weather, right? You cannot control the weather. Most people are not upset about the weather because they realized they cannot control it. If it's raining the whole day, okay, I cannot do anything about it. If it's sunny the whole day, again, I cannot do anything about it. So what people do, and this is something, of course, that is not said out loud, but if you observe it, people adapt to the weather. Say, I really want to go out for a run today, but it's raining like crazy. Then I don't become depressed and say, you know what, I'm just not going to move at all. I adapt. I say, okay, I'm not going to run today. I'm going to do a home workout, or I'm going to go to the gym. I can go to the gym with my car, so I don't have to face the rain. And my end goal stays the same, is that I move on that day, but I change my ways. I adapt to the situation. So the first thing that I want you to do is, when you cannot control something like the weather, like who you work with, I want you to see how you can adapt. Okay, let's bring some situations for this one. I'm going to say, like, okay, you have a colleague that doesn't work at all and she doesn't get anything done. So what I would do personally is I would firstly do my own part, because you said at the beginning that you have to do double work because she doesn't get anything done. So my advice is that focus on your own work first. And then afterwards, when you see that, okay, I've done my share, you can see, for example, on an Excel file that her part is still not done. Think about it. Is it something I can still do because I have more time? Is it something that I'm interested in? Is it something that I really like? If yes, do it. Why is this good for you? Don't get me wrong, I don't want you to become a slave and work for free. But for example, this happened to me, that I had a colleague that didn't do anything. So I thought to myself, let me do the interesting parts in her project, because in that sense, I can grow. I turned it into how it's benefiting me. How it's benefiting me is, I picked some things that I really liked. I picked some things that I thought could be useful for my future, and I did those things. It's not my task to do her job, but since I have to adapt to the situation, I can choose to do nothing, which will also stress me because the project will not keep going. I can choose to do something that's good for me, so I win. The project is still somewhat going further. Or I can do all the work, which is just not doable because, of course, I'm not two people. I cannot do two people's job. Okay, so you try to adapt and make the best out of it for yourself. Now, if you choose not to do anything, that's also perfectly fine because it's not your responsibility. I'm just saying that, especially me, I was the kind of person that was insanely stressed because of the things that the project didn't go further. So I decided to do the things that I benefited from, and also the project. You don't look at the person that is at fault, because of course they will also benefit from it because you do their work. But I'm just really trying to make you realize that if you cannot accept something, at least try to adapt in a way that you shift the focus from why is she not doing something to how can I benefit from this. Now, another example, which is really a struggle, I feel like, for most people, is, for example, when you have a partner and the partner has to work a lot, or the partner has to be with another gender, and let's say you are a bit more jealous type. It's fully normal to feel jealous. It's fully normal to feel like my partner has been working too much. But again, is it something I can control? No. Of course, you can speak about it like, hey, you've been putting in the hours for the past 3 weeks every day. It bothers me. But most of the time, your partner also doesn't have a choice because they have a project or he has a deadline or she has to be on site every single day. Then it's really not up to them as well. However, it's up to you whether you make a fuss about it or you just accept it. So what I do is really hard, but firstly, again, I try to see what is something I can control. What I can control is that I voice my concerns. Okay, I don't like that you talk to this girl. I don't like that you talk to that boy. I don't like that you have so many boyfriends, like guy friends. I don't like that you work too much. I don't like that you have to go to the office every single day and your office is a different one than your original one. So you have to travel more, you have to commute more, and so on. This is something I can control, right? So assume you talked to your partner, assume that you were discussing these things, but they say, well, they have been my friends for a long time, so I'm not gonna lose them, or I have to work more because the company really wants this money to come, and so on and so on. Then you cannot control the situation anymore, right? So how would you adapt in this case? What I try to do is, when these things happen that I cannot control, and how do you adapt to the fact that you are way more times alone? I just try to fill that time with things that I like. Of course, it's not the best because sometimes I feel like I really want to spend time with someone, but they're always busy or they're not available or they have to be somewhere. I just don't want to always fill my time with my things. But this is something where your mind is coming again as a powerful player. You cannot control that he has to work. You cannot control that she wants to spend time with her guy friends. What you can control is whether you're sitting at home on the couch crying about, why is my boyfriend always at work? Why is my girlfriend has so many guy friends? And now I'm talking about the healthy guy friends. Okay, not the ones that are thinking some crazy stuff, but the actual healthy ones. You can either sit on a couch and pout and say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to wait until he or she comes home. Or you can say, you know what? I'm going to have a nice evening. You know what? I'm going to have a nice morning, whatever. It's very hard. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is insanely hard because, yeah, you just want to spend time with that person. You just overthink what she can be doing with those guys. Why is my boyfriend working so much recently? But you cannot control it. So again, what you can control is what you do, is what you choose to basically spend your time on. So how I would adapt is, of course, I pick up new hobbies. I try to focus more on my hobbies that I had before. I go out with my own friends. I go out with my own family. I just try to fill this time with things that are valuable to me. And now let's stop for a moment, because some people will say, well, okay, in this sense, my boyfriend can do whatever he wants, or my girlfriend can work every single day and I'm just supposed to be okay with that. No. The key distinction is that, for example, I had in my previous job like periods of work. So for example, December was always very busy. So what I did was, I knew that I had a busy period coming up. So I went to my partner and I said, look, I'm sorry, but the next couple of weeks going to be very busy. I'm sorry if I'm going to be working overtime. I'm sorry if I'm going to go to the office more often. Let me make it up to you during the weekends. So it was a healthy communication. He knew about it and it was not going on forever. You have to decide in yourself what are the things that you can tolerate. For example, if he tells you, I have a project that's going to go on for a month, so I have to work every single day, that's fine, because one, he told you, two, it's not going to go on forever, it's only a month. If he says it's going to go on for a month, he comes home after a month and says, you know what, I'm just going to do another 3 months of this. Then you can say, hold on, we agreed that this was going to be a month thing because of the deadline. Firstly, did something happen to the deadline? Secondly, why would you do another 3 months? And if he says, oh, because I love working, I'm addicted to work, that's an issue, because your partner should also prioritize spending time with you. If he says, yeah, well, the deadline changed, still 3 months working every single day, that's too much. Like, eventually, usually how it goes is that at the beginning, people don't work every single day. And then as the deadline gets closer, people will start working more and more because the deadline is getting closer, but not for 3 whole months. So you see somewhere there is a line, and it's up to you, up to why he has to work, is where you can decide, is it something that I can adapt to, or is it something that I cannot? And the last example for the adaptation part is basically yourself, like example with yourself. So assume you really want to be skinny, or you really want to be muscular, and you go to the gym, you eat healthy, blah, 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 but it's just not happening. I don't want you to be like, you know what, I accept that I'm fat and ugly forever. That's not why we're here. What I want you to accept with self-love and think about it is that I'm working on my goal. Okay, I'm working on it. It's something that will come later on, not immediately, but you accept that it's happening, but not as fast as you imagined, and you still keep working for it. And if after months you still don't see the results of it, then you can think about, I'm doing something wrong because I've been working out for months and my weight has been the same. Then you can think about it. Then you don't have to accept it anymore, because you cannot change your body in a day, but you can change your body in 4 months. Depends on the change, of course. But you see that if you don't love something about yourself, that's very easy, so to say, because you can change it. Unless it's, I don't know, your phrase structure. But that one you have to accept. That's completely another story about accepting ourselves the way we are. I'm now talking about things that are outside of our body image. But still, if you want to do progress and you're not going forward, you still have to accept that, you know what, this is where I am right now. I'm working towards something, but it's going to take time. The second thing you can do with acceptance other than adaptation is try to find the good in it. As I mentioned with the work example, if you have to do extra work, at least choose the ones you like. If you have to be alone anyways because your partner is out, because your partner is working, because your partner is with friends, at least do something that will make you happy. I spend so much time on just waiting for things to happen. Oh, I'm going to be happy when they are home. Oh, I'm going to be happy when this project ends. Oh, I'm going to be happy when somebody is leaving my life. But there's always going to be something else. I thought with my previous job, there was one thing I really didn't like doing about my previous job. And I thought, once I leave this job, there is nothing worse that will ever happen to me that I will dread this much. Ask me now if there's something in my job that I'm currently dreading. Of course, there is no job where every single task is perfect. I was so jealous of this girl that my boyfriend were like friends with. And once she kind of got out of the picture, she's not even out of the picture, but I kind of accepted her. Now there is another one. And it's like, it's not that, once this girl is gone or once I accept her, it's over, I'm going to be super happy. It's not about the external things. It's about internally. Because I accepted the first girl because I wanted to, not because she changed or not because anything changed, but because I told myself, you know what, I'm done putting myself down because of another girl that is in fact not even prettier than me. What am I doing, to be honest? And now that there is another one, I realized it's not about the girl, it's about me. Because there can be a million girls. I'm going to have a million problems then? No, I should not have 0 problems. And with self-love, again, for example, I don't know, you don't like your hair, but you're unique. Okay, you don't like your nose, but that's unique. Of course, if you want to change your hair, change your hair. I'm not saying you have to stay the same. I'm just saying that find the good in it. Okay, for example, I don't like my hair because it's always straight. If I curl it, I have to spend like a lot of time with it. And usually after the next day, it's like gone. So every single day, if I want to have curly hair, I have to curl it every single day. But I accept it, okay, because what can I do? What can I do? I cannot cut my hair and then suddenly curly hair will grow out. No, I have to accept it. And I try to make the best out of it, which means that if I want it straight, it's straight. If I want it curly, it's curly. Yes, it's extra work, but at the end of the day, I have healthy hair, that's still good. The third thing that I want you to do when you are struggling with acceptance is to realize that that thing will happen anyways. And this gives me such a freeing feeling, so to say. It's exactly like the weather. You look outside in the morning, you're like, damn, it's raining. It's gonna rain anyways. It's gonna rain anyways. You can literally yell, cry, make a big fuss about it. It's gonna keep raining. When your boyfriend or girlfriend has to work, or they want to go out with their friends, they're gonna go out either way. You can do whatever you want. You cannot change the fact that they want to go out, or they have to work, or that it's raining, or that you have to work with colleague X. If you cannot control it, it doesn't matter what you do, it's gonna happen anyways. I had once a quite heartbreaking experience, and I just couldn't accept it. It's like grief. I couldn't accept that, this thing happened, and I was like, I'm so heartbroken. But that thing happened anyways. If I'm sad, it's gonna happen. If I'm happy, it's gonna happen. If I'm angry, it's gonna happen. If I'm crying on the couch, it's gonna happen. So I just want you to imagine this picture, okay? Close your eyes, imagine that you're sitting on your couch and it's raining outside. Now imagine yourself crying on the couch the whole day, getting nothing done because it's raining outside. Or I want you to imagine a picture where it's raining outside and you're inside in a blanket with a tea, cozying up, watching your favorite show. Which one is the better image? Honestly, like I'm asking you honestly. Of course, the better image is the second one, when you're actually making yourself happy regardless of what's happening on the outside. So just knowing that you cannot control everything, and no matter what you do, certain things will happen regardless, gives me such a good feeling that, I can choose to spend my evening when my boyfriend is working, crying, doing absolutely nothing, because why does he have to work? Or I can choose to watch my favorite show, go for a walk, go to the gym, go to church, read something. And I'm like, yeah, the time will pass anyways. He will come home eventually. The question is, when he comes home, did I spend the last 5 hours crying into a pillow over something I cannot even control? And if you can control it, why are you crying? Or did I spend the last 5 hours by cleaning the apartment, watching my show, reading a book, going to the gym, going out for a walk? Time will pass anyways. Doesn't matter what you do, time is going right now. So why don't you choose to make that time good? Why don't you choose to make that time go even faster? Because to be honest, when I was crying on the couch for hours, time went so slow, and I was like, it's only 9 p.m. It's only 9:05. It's only 9:10. When I told myself, you know what? He's not the center of my universe. I am the center of my universe. Time went like this. And when he came home, I was even busy. And I was like, oh, you're home already. And I was like, wait, what? That's such a good feeling. You're home already. I didn't spend my entire evening thinking about, but when are you going to come home? I was doing my own stuff. Why? Because I accepted that he will do that either way. And again, I would like you to make a distinction between what do you accept and what not. If your boyfriend comes home and he says, yeah, honey, I cheated, and you say, well, at least I cleaned the apartment, so that's not okay, right? But if he says, yeah, I had such a nice time. Oh yeah, me too. Okay, if he goes out every day, yes, please talk to him, because why is he spending every single day with his friends and not with you? Why is he spending every day at work and not with you? But if it's occasionally and you don't like it, yeah, there are some things we will not like in the life, also with work. Nothing is forever, This is also something like, yes, time will pass, but She's not going to be with those guys forever. He's not going to be at work forever. You won't be working with the same colleague forever. And I know it's very hard because most of the time you don't know where the end is. You have no clue. Is this project going to end in like a month? Because then I only have a month with this colleague. That's great. Is this project going to end in like 3 years? Because then I have 3 years with this colleague. That's a lot. But eventually it will end. And if you enjoy your time in the meantime, those 3 years, let's say, will end faster, because it is proven that the more fun you have, the faster your time goes. That's why I try to make every single thing I do in my life good, because even if I don't like it, if I enjoy it, at least the time will go faster. So for example, let's bring an example. Okay, I had a colleague that I really didn't like in my previous job, and we had to work a lot closely together, so it was not a good thing. And I just tried to look at how can I make this time go faster. And I tried to look on a good side. I looked at the things I learned. I looked at the things I taught her. I looked at the things that I managed to develop in myself. And time went like this. And afterwards, we became quite good friends. So it was even funny to me, like, I thought I didn't like you, but at the end of the day, when the time went and I finished my job, I was like, oh, that's such a bummer, because I focused on myself, so I realized she's not even that bad. With your relationship, for example, if he or she has to work or with friends or talking to someone, don't care about that. Don't care about that. If something happens, you will find out anyways. You are smart and you have the knowledge to find out these things. If somebody is cheating or lying, come on, that's going to come out either way eventually. And if it comes out after a week or after 3 months, what does it matter? The thing is that you found out. So instead of worrying about, oh, but what are they doing? Oh, but I'm going to cry on the couch. You can just think, you know what? I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to put on my favorite show. That thing, when I watch my show, I'm currently watching Emily in Paris. Every time I'm stressed about something that I cannot control, I put it on and there's so much drama in it where I'm like, I just watched 5 episodes and literally like 2 hours passed. And the drama is already like, wait, what I was even worried about? It's so crazy to me. Like, it goes so fast that I'm like, you know what was I worried about? Anyways, next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe so you don't miss out on more videos. I'm gonna see you guys next Sunday. Have an amazing week. Bye bye.